Welcome back to Turf Talk, Kentucky Derby edition. Vance, I figured normally we get into the news and everything going on in the sport, but it's the Derby. I figured it wouldn't hurt if we handicapped a little bit. Everyone wants to know who the winner's going to be. James and I will be discussing further this week at Churchill with On Point, but this will be our last conversation before the Derby, so who do you like?
I've been with him for about a month or two right now. I think I'm going to stick with him. It's going to be Dortmund. He's undefeated, a massive individual. He looks tractable, can come from off the pace or be on it or closer to it. I think he's kind of Bob Baffert's little, not so secret, but secret compared to his highly touted favorite entry mate, American Pharoah. So, I like the fact he's by Big Brown. I think a mile and a quarter is surely within his scope. Dortmund for me.
That's a question some people have about American Pharoah. I think people finding a reason to knock him don't have to look too deep in the pedigree. Yankee gentleman on the bottom and a lot of speed all over the bottom. He is my pick, though. I think he's the most likely winner in a talented group. I am eager to see how the odds shake out, though. I mean, last week, even after they'd already ran, I thought American Pharoah 7-2, Dortmund 4-1, but based on what's happened the last 72 hours, it might be 5-2, 9-2, or even 2-1, 5-1, and that changes things for me. I mean, I'm not planning a big win bet on either of them, but if they're that far apart in the betting, I'm going to have a hard time not using Dortmund. Whereas when I thought maybe they'd be co-favorites, I figured, well, one or the other. Do you sense that's what's going on with the odds right now?
Yeah, I really do. There's just been so much talk about how wonderful that work by American Pharoah was on Sunday and how effortlessly he glides over the track. And, of course, with all the money that's being pumped in around the country, especially from, once-a-year bettors, I mean, they're gonna read the press clippings. They're going to look at the replays of the Arkansas Derby and Rebel and see the infinite ease that he won those races, albeit against moderate competition. And, I could easily see 2-1, 5-2 on Pharoah.
Now, if he wins, obviously he's going to the Preakness. I floated this out there on Twitter sort of as a joke, but given that some people might have some distance concerns, to me, if Dortmund wins, I'd love to see him go to the Met Mile. Get the weight allowance, one-turn mile at Belmont with that brilliance. I think would be a lot of fun to see a 3-year-old in there.
Yeah. Anytime you see a clash of the generations, especially early in the season like that, I don't think we've seen that since I think the mid-1990s, where a 3-year-old has won the Met Mile. So, that would be a great addition to that race. However, if Dortmund and American Pharoah both run really well in the Derby, separated by, not too far a distance, I'd still love to see them hook up again in the Preakness, and that would be a great intramural rivalry for the Baffert stable and for racing to witness.
And I forget which year it was, but Pletcher had several, and one of them was well regarded. And he said if we win the Derby with one of these, the rest aren't going to the Preakness, which isn't too far out for him because he sends so few to the Preakness anyway. Yeah. But I do think that's going to be an interesting storyline. We sort of saw it with Orb and Departing because they had the Claiborne connection. But this, to me, would even take that up a notch because now we're talking about the two favorites in the Derby, and obviously they would be well regarded in the Preakness, especially, as you say, if they were, ding-donging down the lane or right there with each other.
Yeah, it would be a fantastic rivalry in seemingly a fantastic crop in this Triple Crown. So, and regardless of what happens in the Derby, let's just hope a lot of them do come back for the Preakness. It'd be fun to see a lot of these horses competing against each other multiple times.
Yeah, no question. But I will say, if one of the Bafferts airmail, it might be a short field in 2 weeks.
Very much so. Very much so. Do you have a long shot for the Derby or a more higher priced horse you don't want to leave out?
Yeah, you like Dortmund, who I do as well. But again, since American Pharoah's on top, I'm going to shy away from using both of them. So I'll take the horse Dortmund's beat twice, and that's Bolo, who to me doesn't run a bad race. He runs his race. Have they ever been fast enough to beat American Pharoah or Dortmund at their best, or even Upstart, Frosted, etc.? No. but it's the Derby. That extra quarter mile does matter. And to me, a horse who's in form and is running his races every time, I definitely want him on the tickets underneath. And if the price is right, I'll even take a saver flyer on top. But he's definitely one I hope crashes the party.
He's not going to be much of a long shot, but I do like the way Frosted recovered to win the Wood at Aqueduct after getting the procedure to correct his breathing that hindered
Among
him.
other things.
Among other
He
things
got
that
the
hindered
works
it,
package.
that hindered his Gulfstream performances. So he's a horse that's peaking at the right time, I think, and so I'll be looking for him. And Kieran McLaughlin would be a great story too. A
Absolutely.
local Kentucky kid here. Another Lucas protege. I think he's due to have some success in the classics on top of his win with Jazzle in the Belmont about a decade ago.
Yeah, and he had Invasor in the Breeders' Cup Classic, obviously slightly different, but he's actually my second pick, so
okay.
I'm right there with you. And for that reason, I like the Wood. A 10 Sendor, who I think could be the longest shot on the board. I'm not going to leave out. I like the winner, so I'll take the runner-up at 40, 50 to 1. And El Kabir, he runs his race too. I think he might be a little overbet, but if you combo him up the right way, you'll still do okay. I think everyone will probably be, I shouldn't say everyone, but the Zayat box is probably going to be popular, and that'll be underlaid. So you got to be judicious with where you slot these horses, but that twinspires.com Wood Memorial is a key race for me.
Yeah. Bring your wallets. It's going to take a lot of money to cover all the bases.
Yeah,
I
for
think.
sure. Or better yet, deposit ahead of time on the TwinSpires app, new this year, so check that out. But most importantly, enjoy the Kentucky Derby, and we'll talk to you next week with, I'm sure, plenty of storylines.
Absolutely.
All right.